All right, so maybe Lou, you can just, looking at the beginning, we just read 2 paragraphs from this article. So maybe Lou, you can just introduce Camila on what we were reading, a little bit about these words. Maybe if Camila has some vocabulary questions about these words that are highlighted. So let's begin with Luisa. How could you summarize a little bit what this article is about?
This is about the contradictory. The author said he think that it's contradictory. People reclaim, people
complain
a lot about the World Cup in Qatar, but when the World Cup was in Russia, there isn't human rights, and there is a lot of problems of the dictatorial government. The same people that now is complaining about the World Cup being in Qatar didn't complain when the World Cup was in Russia.
For example,
so
yeah. For example, in Russia, for example, or China,
or China, the Olympics, Winter Olympics game.
Winter Olympics, yeah.
And he thinks that it's or these people were como é que é preconceituoso? Were
prejudiced against Muslims, prejudiced against
the
Muslims,
or they are
or they don't like rich people, or they don't like rich people. Because Qatar is a rich country, very rich country, right? Super rich country. Yeah, they didn't have anything against China or Russia.
Yeah, or they are not so. They are badly judgment. Tipo, então fizeram um julgamento errado nas anteriores e agora estão tipo voltando.
Yeah, maybe they didn't think about it. Maybe they didn't think about it last time. Yeah. And the problems with Qatar maybe are more present in their understanding. Yeah. Prejudice against women, prejudice against LGBT. These things are more important for people than maybe, or maybe more, not important, but maybe more present in their minds than all the human rights abuses that China or Russia also commit. Right? Yeah, maybe. Yeah. And Camila, do you have any questions about vocabulary? We highlighted some words here.
Yes, I don't understand the Muslims and Muslims and I don't know prejudice against. I don't understand. I don't know how can I speak prejudiced.
Prejudiced.
Prejudice.
Preconceituoso seria a prejudiced. Preconceito is prejudice.
Prejudice.
Oops. Yeah, so. Yeah. Prejudice é o preconceito. Prejudiced, com ED no final, é preconceituoso. Right? So some people are prejudiced against Muslims. Who are Muslim people? Muslim people are people who have a different religion. Their religion is called Islam. So Muslims are people whose religion is Islam. So people in Saudi Arabia, people in Morocco, people in Qatar, Iran, Iraq, these people are Muslims, right? That's their religion.
Play with.
Sorry?
Play with, merrily. This.
What word?
merely flared. O flared it's
Yes,
marked.
this.
Yeah.
Flawed.
Flawed.
Yeah.
Flawed.
Flawed.
Merely, it's the word before.
Flawed.
Yeah. Merely flawed.
Merely flawed.
Flawed.
Merely flawed. Merely é meramente. Meramente. Eles são, and flawed means not perfect. Person is flawed. A person has problemas. Anything can be flawed. Everything is flawed. Nothing is perfect, right? Brazil is a very, very flawed country. We have so many problems, so many imperfections in our constitution, in our laws, in our political system. It's a very, very flawed country. Qatar is a flawed country, has prejudices, has different things that make it less than perfect. The United States are a flawed country. They also have many imperfections. So flawed, imperfect, not perfect.
Okay.
We are all flawed. All people are flawed. Nobody's perfect, right? Everybody has flaws. Flaws são defeitos. A flaw. The flawed is a person or a country or a thing with flaws. Todo mundo tem defeito. Nobody's perfect. Everybody's flawed. Okay. Okay. And we were talking about the word pundits. Pundits are people with a strong opinion about something, right? They're experts, but they're commentators, but they have a strong opinion. And they like to make polemic. They like to make controversy. They like to fight about their opinions. Those are pundits. In Portuguese, we call them polemistas, as I was looking in the dictionary. Okay, so that's the idea. So let's go to the next paragraph. Maybe Luisa, you can start.
Yes. Qatar may not be a democracy, but it's not the despicable despotage of cartoonish editorials. The previous emir, under no popular pressure at all, introduced elections of a sort.
Okay, election. Let's stop in the first, because now he's going to give a lot of the characteristics. Why is Qatar flawed, but also has some good things, right? Bad things and good things. So he's going to talk about different points. So the first sentence, what is the first point he's talking about here? Is it a positive or negative point about Qatar?
I think
Qatar is not a democracy.
It's a great point. It's a good point.
It's a popular point, maybe. It's not a democracy. Okay, it is a monarchy. Yeah. It is a monarchy, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is a monarchy, so it's not a democracy. It's not a constitutional monarchy like the UK, for example, or Sweden or Holland. It's not a constitutional monarchy. It is an absolutist monarchy. So the monarch has a lot of power. It's not a democracy. But he says, who is the emir? You know, who is the emir?
Primeiro-ministro?
Emir is the king. Emir is the monarch in the Middle East. Eles não chamam de rei, né? Eles chamam de emir. It's the monarch. So the emir, with all his power, he introduced elections. He wasn't suffering any pressure, under no popular pressure at all, but he introduced elections anyway. So that's a positive point.
But introduced elections for what?
Of a sort. Elections of a sort is a good, yeah. It's not elections like, what does it mean? It's a type of elections. It's not full elections. It's not all the way elections. It's not democratic elections, but some kind of elections.
But of a sort, what's the meaning of a sort?
Yeah, it's like, of a sort, eu não sei nem como fala em português, democracia, tipo de eleição. Mas of a sort da ideia de, it gives you the idea that it's not 100%. É como se colocasse entre aspas, assim. He introduced elections, a sort of elections, not complete democratic elections, but it's some kind of election.
But election for what? Because it's not election for to decide who will be the emir. It's an election for
exactly.
what?
It's an election of a sort.
To choose the
Minister, maybe.
I don't know exactly. He doesn't explain, and I'm not familiar with the Qatari system. But yes, who do they have the right to elect? I don't know, prefeitos, mayors, governors. I don't know, other positions in the government, but not the emir, definitely. Yeah. Okay, so that's one thing. So let's continue, Luisa.
He also set up a news channel, Al Jazeera, that's more outspoken than its Arab rival.
Good. Good pronunciation. Arab rivals.
Arab rivals, even if it goes easy on Qatar itself.
Did you understand the second point? Is it a positive point or a negative point?
It's a positive.
It's always a positive point with a little twist. Right?
Yeah. he set up the news channel.
But the news channel is a very good news channel. Do you know Al Jazeera?
Who presents just what Emir likes?
No, that's not what they're saying. They're saying it's more outspoken. It's more outspoken, meaning the Al Jazeera, this TV channel. Luisa, we have watched Al Jazeera together once. Remember that article, that video on Russia, at the beginning of the war? We watched the video explaining the situation between Russia and Ukraine. It was before the war. It was before Russia invaded. And it was a great channel. It was really good reporting, really good information, very clear. So it was, so it is outspoken. It talks about many problems. It's not, it has freedom of speech. It's a channel that has freedom. Outspoken meaning it is free to speak. Okay. But Al Jazeera, when it talks about Qatar, it goes a little easy on Qatar. So it doesn't criticize Qatar very hard. It criticizes a little bit, but not very hard.
It's like this humorist, the human that said you can talk, but not about everything.
Yeah, exactly. Like the woman that we watched, the stand-up comic.
Yeah.
But
not about Qatar, but it's the same.
But it does talk about Qatar. It does criticize Qatar, but a little bit, not all the way. In Iran, you cannot criticize the government at all. In Russia, you cannot criticize the government at all. You go to jail. You can die. In China, right? You cannot. But in Qatar, you may. Al Jazeera does criticize and presents criticism, but up to a point, right? Not all the way. So it's freedom of speech, but freedom of speech, but okay. But we did watch. I do watch Al Jazeera sometimes, and I think it's a great channel. It's really, really good. It's a good channel, a good TV channel. The news is great on Al Jazeera. They're very clear. They really investigate many sides. I really like Al Jazeera. Okay. Okay, Lou.
That's a far cry from Vladimir Putin's Russia, where you get sent to prison for describing the war in Ukraine as a war, let alone denouncing it. And it is a world of difference from China, where no peep.
No peep. Aquilo que a mãe da gente falava quando a gente era criança. Não quero ouvir um piu.
Okay.
In English, I don't want to hear a peep.
Of political dissent is tolerant.
Okay.
the Argentine junta that hosted the World Cup in 1978 through critics out of helicopters.
Okay, so vocabulary questions.
Beep.
Beep is a sound, any sound, small sound, very small sound. Beep.
Junta.
Junta. They say it in the Spanish. They pronounce it with a Spanish sound. The Argentine junta. It's a Spanish word. Junta é a junta militar. Junta is a group of military who govern a country with under a dictatorship. So Brazil had a junta, Argentina had a junta, Chile had a military junta. So what do you think of the points? What points are they bringing up in this paragraph? And do you agree? Do you disagree?
Yeah, he said that even though Qatar was a dictator, there are outspoken of media and compare with Russia, China, and even Argentina in 1978 that expulsou,
throughout
the
critics. Any critics, right? They actually threw them out from airplanes and helicopters. You know that, right? He's talking literally. The Argentine junta threw critics out of helicopters. So they killed critics, throwing them out of airplanes and helicopters into the ocean. And nobody complained. In 1978, nobody said, "Oh, the World Cup in Argentina is an absurd." Nobody said anything back then. And it was a military junta that was doing horrible.
I think there is one World Cup in Brazil that was in dictatorial regime too.
No, it was in 1950.
The first one, no?
Oh, it was during Getúlio, right? It was a dictatorship, I guess. Yeah.
I think that was
during the dictatorship. Yeah.
Dictatorship.
Qatar, Luisa, I don't think it's a dictatorship. It's a monarchy, okay? It's a different system.
Okay.
Dictatorship. Qatar is a monarchy. An absolutist monarchy. I don't know if you can call it a dictatorship. I'm not sure. Absolutist monarchy. And the UK, what kind of monarchy do they have in the UK?
Parliamentarist.
Yeah, parliamentary monarchy. Or constitutional monarchy. In the UK, what countries have constitutional monarchies in the world today besides the UK?
Scotland.
Yeah, Scotland is part of the UK, right? Scotland, Wales, England, and Northern Ireland are part of the UK. And what else?
Australia.
Australia doesn't have a monarchy. Australia is a.
But
they
Australia
have to.
How can I say?
They have to. They belong to the Commonwealth. They don't belong to the UK. They belong to the Commonwealth, which is an institution, an organization of former British colonies. So all these former British colonies, Australia, Kenya, South Africa, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nigeria, blah, 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 all these former, Jamaica, Canada, all these former colonies are part of the Commonwealth. But they are not monarchies, right? They are how do you call that? They are parliamentary. They have a parliamentary system. They're a republic. They're a republic. They're a republic. They're not a monarchy, but they belong to the Commonwealth. So they still have the queen. I don't know exactly how it works with the Commonwealth countries, but I don't think you consider them a monarchy. I think they're a republic. I think, but I may be wrong. Yeah. But of course, the UK, England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, these are monarchies, really. The monarch is the head of state.
But one day when I was taking class with a teacher by Australia, taking class, English class by a teacher by Australia, I said for him that September 7, we commemorate the independence of Brazil.
Okay, September 7th. Okay, yeah.
Yes. And he said for me that felizmente,
fortunately,
we can, how can
fortunately,
I say? Fortunately, we can commemorar this date, celebrate this date because we don't free.
Yeah, there are many, of course, some people are anti-monarchy. Many people in England, in the UK, in Australia, they are anti-monarchy. They really don't like the monarchy and they want to become a republic. But other people like the monarchy and they don't consider themselves not free. Like, I don't know. I lived in Canada for 5 years. We never felt, Canadians don't feel like they're not free. They're completely self-governing. They govern themselves. I don't know what is the connection with the UK. I don't know exactly. Eu não sei quais responsabilidades eles têm em relação ao UK. I know that many people in Canada have a picture of the Queen on their wall. I know that the Canadian money, the Canadian bill, dollar bill, has a picture of the Queen. Agora do Rei Charles, né? Tiveram que mudar tudo, eu imagino. King Charles. But the Canadian
money.
What
happened with the money?
The dollar,
teacher.
No, they don't, they just have to change the bills, print new bills. Mas eu acho que eles não recolhem tudo de uma vez, não é assim. Slowly they start changing the bills to pictures of King Charles. Yeah, but it's the same money. So I don't know exactly what responsibilities or what duties Canada has. But what I do know is, for example, I was married to a Canadian, Pierre, and he could work and live in the UK with no problems. So there are advantages to being part of the Commonwealth. I don't know what are the disadvantages. I'm not familiar. I don't know. It's a good question. So many people don't like it.
This is only for Canada. I think that Jordans can, Pakistan can live in UK without...
Anybody from the Commonwealth, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Hong Kong, before Hong Kong went back to China. When I lived in London, in 1987, 88, and 89, I lived in London. Lots of Pakistanis, Indians, Hong Kongese, Jamaicans, Canadians, Australians, New Zealanders, all these people lived in London and they had the right to work, to live. They were completely legal. All the countries, all the citizens from the Commonwealth countries, they can live in the UK with no problem. So it's an advantage. That's one advantage. I don't know the disadvantages. There probably are some. I don't know what they are. But some people don't like the monarchy. Some people like the monarchy. So that's also personal opinion, right? But going back to the question, what other countries in Europe have a constitutional monarchy? Do you know, besides the UK?
Europe. Denmark.
Denmark, yeah.
Denmark. Belgium.
Belgium, yes.
Sweden.
Switzerland, no. Sweden, yes.
Yeah.
What else? There are more.
Spain.
Norway, Spain, yeah. Norway. And Holland, the Netherlands. So these are all super advanced countries. These are not dictatorships. These are not countries that are not free because they have a monarch. On the contrary, they're very, very politically stable countries with strong economies.
Yeah, so but now it's a parliamentary scheme.
All of them are constitutional.
monarchy, yeah.
All of them are constitutional parliamentary monarchies, all of them, yeah.
Maybe
of course,
it's one thing that
bothers people.
Bother,
yeah.
Bother people. It's this Qatar is a absolutist monarchy, so there is a free rotation of power, maybe.
Right. Yes. It's more complicated. Absolutist monarchies like Qatar, like Saudi Arabia, they are, but it's not
Thailand. I think that
I don't know if it's a constitutional monarchy or an absolutist monarchy in Thailand. It's a good question. I don't know. It's a monarchy, but I don't know which type.
I think that's absolute.
Probably, yes, probably. Yeah. Okay. And okay. Let me just send. Okay. And I have to send a message to my mom. Sorry, guys, just a second. She's calling me.
Japan, also there is a
parliamentary
monarchy.
Correct. Yes, parliamentarist. Yes, it's a constitutional monarchy. Yes, Japan. So all these super stable countries are constitutional monarchies. So I don't know. I know what are the arguments that people have against the monarchy, right? Anti-monarchists, I know why they don't like the monarchy. They think the country spends a lot of money, a lot of tax money goes to the rich living of the monarchs. Although I don't know how much exactly of taxpayers' money go to the monarchy, because I know in England, in the UK, the monarchy makes a lot of money for the country too, because they're a super touristic attraction. So there's the monarchy in the UK, they make so much money for the country. They spend some money and they make a lot of money. I don't know what's the proportion. So it's all, we have these opinions about the monarchy, that's a terrible regime, but we don't know exactly, because when I look at, Holland, Belgium, Sweden, Norway, they all have monarchies and they work very, very well as a democracy. So I don't know. I think it's worth investigating a little bit more. Anyway, so, okay. And there you go. So a little political discussion on different. Were you alive when Fernando Henrique proposed a referendum here in Brazil to change the political system, and we had a referendum? Do you remember this?
Yes, I remember.
It was in the 1990s, 95, 96. I don't remember exactly when.
I remember.
Yeah, it was during Fernando Henrique's administration, right? It was during his rule, and. So he proposed this referendum. We had a referendum and we had to vote if we preferred to keep the presidential system, change to a parliamentary system not with a king, not a monarchy, but a parliamentary system, or change to a parliamentary monarchy. There were those three options. You didn't know that, Lou? You didn't know that?
No, I just remember that.
Yeah, we had that referendum. I remember I voted. And everybody voted to stay presidential. We didn't. From what I remember, I didn't know anything about the other systems. There was no communication campaign explaining why would it be good to become a parliamentary system. Why it might be good to become a monarchy. I don't know. So we only it was ridiculous. Like, oh, this is so ridiculous. Why are they proposing this?
Monarchy, it's so ridiculous because there is no king in Brazil. The king was from Portugal, so
we don't have that tradition. No,
there is no sense for me.
Dom Pedro II was Brazilian, right? Our second emperor, he was Brazilian. But that's such a long time ago. I mean, we don't have the tradition of having a monarch. So it doesn't make any sense. But a parliament, I still think, when I think back on that referendum, I still think, oh, maybe it would have been a good idea to change to a parliamentary system, because this presidential system sucked. Presidential system.
I like parliamentary system. I like it.
Exactly. And we had a chance to change it. to parliamentary system, and we didn't take it. I think it was a lot because the communication campaign was really there wasn't any. They didn't explain what would be the advantages of changing. So nobody knew. So we just said, okay, let's not change.
Yeah.
Let's stay the way we are because we don't know why it would be better to change. And it was really a lost opportunity, I think, because parliamentary, I don't know, I imagine could be better because our presidential system is really horrible. I hate it. I really hate the president having so much power, and the whole relationship with Congress is also bad. Everything is so bad. I don't like it at all. So I don't know. Maybe
like
I think that
parliamentarism.
the system was corrupted by the inside. The theory is not so bad, but the practical, it's terrible.
You're talking about presidential system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only place the theory is not so so bad, but our system was very corrupted and it's terrible.
Yeah. But if you look,
I have to answer the interphone.
Okay. And you, Camila, you were going to say something
about the political system.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say something, but I interrupted you. Were you going to say something? I don't know.
No.
Okay.
No, just that I like the parliamentary system.
Yeah, me too. But we don't know how it would be in Brazil, right? We don't.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's continue.
I worked with a guy who was Swiss, Swiss. How can I say?
The person is Swiss. The nationalidade is Swiss. The country is Switzerland.
Swiss. And
I have to receive
okay.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
No, encomenda.
Okay.
So I have to go. Bye.
Bye. Yes, Camila.
And one day they said to me, oh, I need to vote about everybody receive 2,000 euros for a month. Why? I asked him, why? Who will pay 2,000 euros for everybody? The government.
Exactly. I remember that. Yes.
Why? Do you remember?
I remember that.
And I asked him.
But the population refused it. They didn't want it. They refused it.
And I asked him, why? Because the people are asking about, and the government asked the person who decides. And I asked him, what's the chance to be negative? The answer about it, refuse. And they answered me, of course we'll be refused this idea. And I'm so confused because in Brazil never will refuse this. And they said to me, everybody knows this money will irá faltar,
will be missed, in some important places,
education, security, so we will refuse. He said, I know everybody will refuse.
They did it. Yes, they refused
it.
They did it. It's incredible.
After that, they said to me, everybody refused.
Yeah, it's incredible. I think another fear, there was another problem with that idea, is that the country would be ficar inchado with too many people would start trying to go to Switzerland. I don't know. They didn't want to incentivize more people to come in just to get that money. I heard something like that too. But yeah, they refused. It's really interesting that
so crazy, because after that they said, oh, now I need to vote about the army. Oh, now every time they need to vote some for anything.
That's the Swiss system. They work on a direct democracy. All the important, I don't know if all the important laws, but many of the important laws are decided by referendum. The population votes directly on the laws. It's not like our representatives, like in Brazil, os deputados vote for the laws. No, in Switzerland, the population votes directly, yes or no, for different laws. It's a direct democracy, but it's a very small country, so it's possible to have that with a small population like Switzerland. It's a very small country.
But is necessary a lot of education, because
also. Exactly. How can you do that in Brazil with such problems with education and misery? And yeah, it's impossible. It's such a huge population. So yeah, direct democracy like Switzerland would be great, but it doesn't work everywhere. Maybe it's very, I don't know how it would be in a country like Brazil. I don't know. Anyway, so, okay. So let's continue. We're almost finished. I don't think we have time to go one more paragraph.
We don't have time.
Okay. So just going back to the top, because you were not here. So do you understand this article? How would you summarize this article? What is it about from what we read until now?
This article is about a person that are to complain about the World Cup is in Qatar, and person wrote article saying that person are complaining now, but another countries of the world are worse than Qatar, and nobody say nothing about it. So, and Qatar is not so bad. It's bad, but not so bad.
Yeah, it's flawed, right? It has problems. It's not perfect, but maybe it's not as terrible as many other countries can be. So we can continue this discussion tomorrow and read a little bit more and look at vocabulary. Okay?
Okay.
So I'll see you tomorrow.
I'll see you next week.
Next week.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, teachers.
Thank you, Camila. Bye-bye. See you.